Hello, my Drew. This is David Daniel Ducker, and today we have a video request from my man Philip Posey. I was talking to him about The Last Jedi, Star Wars, Episode 8, and he wanted to know why I liked the movie. I'm not sure he liked it. I loved it. He said, Dave, my man, do a first impressions video, and here it is, as requested. So I loved The Last Jedi. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I loved The Force Awakens, the original trilogy. It's not hot on the prequel trilogy, but here's my thoughts on The Last Jedi, why I thought it was very good. So, The Last Jedi, we open up with the rebels evacuating, the resistance rather, evacuating one of their bases. The First Order is coming in hot, looking to put the beat down on them. Poe Dameron, our starfighter pilot, the ace pilot, leads the bombing run in. We have a great action scene there. Now, Poe has a Pyrrhic victory. He manages to destroy one of the First Order cruisers, but he loses his entire bomber wing. He doesn't seem to see a problem with this, and they return to base. They make the jump to light speed. So right off the bat, we're setting up Poe's storyline. The storyline is he is the best. Nobody can keep up with him. But he has to learn to look after other people. He's, at the beginning, a classical Greek hero. You know, he is the best. He's going to put the beat down on them. Catch up with him if you can. But he has to become a more nuanced hero by the end of our story. Otherwise, he'll be all alone. And the story of Star Wars is one of teamwork, that you need to become a member of this unit. You need to look out for the little guy. It's the bad guys in Star Wars that are selfish, that are all about themselves. The heroes need to be more than that. And he has to learn this the hard way, by getting other people killed, by failing his cause. Not because he is inept in and of himself. In fact, he's very strong by himself, but he needs to be part of a unit. So that's going to be his story arc. And the first scene sets that up, his big failure. Now, we move on to Rey's story. We pick up with her on the island of the Jedi, and she's finally met Luke Skywalker. She gives him the lightsaber. She gives him that look, wonderful look, great acting. Says, "Help me, train me, take me on." And Luke rejects this. He throws the lightsaber away. Great shock moment there. And then Luke and Rey, they talk, and Luke says he's done with the Jedi. He's cut himself off from the Force. He walks a different path now. He failed. He never got over his failure. He didn't train Kylo Ren properly. Kylo Ren fell to the dark side. Luke thought he would be this great teacher, this great mentor, but he wasn't. He doubted himself. He doubted his student. He was afraid that his student would become greater than him. And in his moment of weakness, Kylo Ren saw Luke as a monster, saw Luke as a murderer, and that cemented Kylo turning to the dark side. So again, this theme of failure. Luke failed, and he never got over his failure. He left the galaxy. He became a hermit, just like Obi-Wan did, just like Yoda did. They both failed as well, and they never got over it either. So Luke's following in that tradition. And when Rey says, you may have failed, but we can't give up. We can't let the First Order win. She has a very strong point, that just because you failed, it doesn't mean that the cause is lost. You have to try again. You have to get back on that horse. And Luke is very rejecting of this notion. He starts to train Rey a little bit. You know, he gives her some insights, but he always has this pessimistic outlook, saying, "Here are the reasons why the Jedi is no good, why the Jedi have failed utterly and cannot be redeemed." He doesn't believe in that redemption. Right? We were powerful, we ruled the galaxy, but we had hubris. We fell to the dark side, we squandered it, and the dark times are here. And he sees this cycle repeating over and over, and he wants to break the cycle. He wants to step away. It's got this wonderful theme of trying to put the genie back in the bottle. But unfortunately, the genie is still on the loose. Kylo Ren has the Force. He is going to shape it into what he wants unless somebody stops him. Unfortunately, you know, you have to confront these new ideas, these new technologies, these things that maybe you wish weren't here, but they are here. You have to deal with them. So that's a great theme that I got out of that personally. Might not have been as overt as the other themes. So then we cut back to Poe Dameron and Finn and our new character Rose, who I love. I think she's adorable. She's great. And I'll tell you why. So Poe goes to the acting general, and you know, he says, "What are we going to do? The Empire is following us through light speed. We're going to run out of fuel. We can't make a jump. What's the plan?" And his commander will not tell him the plan. She says, "Have faith. I have a plan. Don't worry about it." Now, Poe, we've already established he's not a team player. He's a Greek hero. He needs to solve the problem. He is selfish. And he is very competent. But ultimately, at this moment, he's selfish. He says, "Okay, well, if I can't be in on saving the world here, on saving our cause, I'm gonna, I'm gonna save it regardless of what the general thinks." So he concocts this plan, which is not a bad plan in many aspects, and he sends off Finn and Rose to enact his plan. He's going to lay low, and at the critical moment, he's going to step in. Now, his plan, of course, is to find a hacker and get them on the Star Destroyer that's pursuing them, disrupt the tracking device, and give the Resistance a chance to make a jump to light speed that they can't track, that the First Order can't follow. It's not a bad plan in certain aspects. So we now follow Finn and Rose trying to get the hacker. They fail. Again, failure comes up in the story. They don't get the hacker they were sent for. They end up thrown into jail. They find a different hacker, DJ. He seems like he can get the job done, though. They'll find success in failure. They manage to escape. And just because Philip requested to hone in on Rose and why I like her, I'll mention there are several scenes here that put Rose over, though. A lot of this is designed to make her into a strong character. You know, she loses her sister. There's this sadness. You feel sorry for her. But she wants to fight. She has this admirable quality. She's going to go with Finn's plan, with Poe's plan. So she's willing to be a rebel and follow them. She's got a lot of hero worship for Finn. So we go to the planet. Finn thinks it's a pretty cool place. But Rose shows her empathy. She says, "Look at the servants. Look at the slaves. Look at the animals they're mistreating. There are animal races on this planet. They're all treated horribly. They have child labor." And Rose says, "I went through all that." You know, her planet was exploited by the First Order. So we get heat on the First Order. They're bad. They're bad guys. They mistreat children and animals. They have exploitative economic policies. And Rose has seen all that, but she's still willing to fight and come back. She has a big heart. And Finn sees that. And, you know, he helps her to free the animals. He helps her to escape the planet. They're going to fight against the First Order. So again, her hero worship of him goes up. She sees him as doing all these things, and she sees him as a kindred spirit. So they go to the Star Destroyer. They infiltrate it with help from DJ. But ultimately, we have to come back to that theme of failure because they're captured. The plan doesn't work. Back on the Rebel cruiser, Poe is thrown in the stockade. He tries to lead a mutiny, but when Finn and Rose fail, his plan can't work, and he has to be accountable for his actions, at least to some degree. Now, ultimately, Poe is forgiven by the commander and by Leia, who's been in a coma, which she had this great scene where it was teased that she was going to get killed. Great heat on Kylo Ren as he hesitated to kill her, and then the TIE fighters came in and almost got her. They put her in a coma. So I love that subplot as well. But anyway, Poe is facing the consequences, but he's forgiven. The general says, you were trying to do right. We appreciate rebellion around here, but you have to learn to be a team player. You're getting people killed by being an idiot. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. And man, Poe actually smartens up and he realizes I do have to be a team player. I need to be a leader. I can't go completely AWOL and get my friends killed and captured all the time. So that's his character arc that we're seeing. That's this exploration of failure. Do you learn like Poe did? Or do you become a recluse and dwell on it and get bitter, just like Luke Skywalker? So Luke is a bad role model here. He's a bad example. Poe is the good example. They both have human failings. It's how we deal with those failings that really matters, though. So Finn and Rose, as I said, they've been captured, and Finn has his great confrontation with Phasma. He puts the beat down on her. It's one of my favorite scenes in the film because Finn has this great underdog appeal to me. He could get killed off. We can live without Finn. So every time he gets in trouble, I'm worried for the man. And Phasma is a badass. She's like 6'4". She's got silver armor. Blaster bolts bounce right off of it. And I loved the fight choreography. It was simple. It was a simple fight. But I really liked it. I'll also mention DJ betrayed the party, as we all knew he would. I was so excited because we already have a pilot, a soldier, a Jedi. With Rose, we've got a technician. We're really building our party through the film, and I love that. Everyone has a role, an aspect, a character. I thought, oh, DJ's going to come in. He's going to be the thief, the rogue, the con man. Yeah, let's get that in on the party. And like many thieves before him, he betrayed the party, and he got sorted out for it. Off screen. Maybe he'll be back. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think he got sorted out and exploded off screen. So Finn and Rose manage to escape. They come back to the Rebel cruiser. Now let's cut back to Rey. So Rey has made psychic contact with Kylo Ren. She's given up on Luke. She's come in. She's hooked up with Kylo Ren. He takes her before Supreme Leader Snoke, and Snoke tries to turn her. She refuses. Snoke orders Kylo Ren to kill Rey, and Kylo instead kills Snoke. He puts the beat down on the man, cleaves him in half, Darth Maul style. Kylo and Rey team up. They throw down all of the Imperial Guard, the Royal Guard. Very strong fight scene. And then they have the great confrontation. Kylo has been telling Rey the whole time, forget Luke Skywalker, forget the Jedi, forget good versus evil. We need to rise above that. That's why I killed my father, Han Solo. Because I don't want to be dragged down. I want to be the Ubermensch. I want to be beyond good and evil. I want to shape my world. So he's got this really interesting moral view. It's beyond good and evil. And that's, something Star Wars hasn't really had before. Some may say he's just bullshitting. Maybe he doesn't believe it. He doesn't mean it. Um, but him and Rey have this great scene where he says, "Now that we've killed Snoke, come, join me. We will reform the First Order. We will rule the galaxy together." And Rey is not down with it. I'm not exactly sure, what her thought process is. She could sense the dark side in him. She was afraid of the power. She didn't believe the First Order could be reformed. There's a lot of emotional turmoil going on in her right there. But it was a great scene. And because of all the build-up, the personal turmoil, you really believe she could go either way. Right? I could have seen her hooking up with Kylo Ren and having this reformation attempt and getting the Admiral Hux, I believe is his name, as the new bad guy against them. I could see a whole arc working very well. But Star Wars style, we got to have the good guy, we got to have the bad guy. They've made it more gray, but they still want that clash of lightsabers. And unfortunately, Admiral Hux don't have a lightsaber, so he gets put down back into the mid-card spot. So Kylo and Rey have a confrontation. Luke Skywalker's lightsaber is destroyed, which I loved, and she escapes. She doesn't immediately hook up with the Resistance again. The Resistance, now we'll come back to Finn, Rose, and Leia. The Resistance, they've gone down onto this planet. They've managed to escape the cruiser, but because of DJ, they've been tracked. The whole plan was to stealthily get them out of the cruiser, let the First Order blow up the cruiser when it's empty. It doesn't matter. The people are what matters. But because of DJ, they were tracked. The rogue who betrayed them. So the First Order is coming down. They're holding out hope. They're sending out messages. Save us. Come. Someone please help. And they're relying on these allies, this inspiration, this message of hope. But of course, no hope arrives. Apparently the whole galaxy has gone Luke Skywalker and become bitter and afraid and withdrawn. They're willing to sit on the sidelines. And that, I hope, will build into the third part of this arc. Episode 9, where hope is restored. This is episode 8. Hope is at its low point right here. So they're trying to hold out. They're trying to withstand. Their commander even makes this sacrifice. She uses the cruiser to ram one of the Star Destroyers and destroy it. That's how Finn and Rose escape, in fact. And that's how DJ gets blown up, too, off screen. So I know a lot of people have criticized this and said, oh, it doesn't make any sense, and they never showed any light speed weapons before. Why don't they have light speed torpedoes? Well, my response is Star Wars has never made sense. It's not supposed to make sense. Nothing in Star Wars makes sense. You have psychic powers, humanoid aliens, gravity plating, tractor beams. How sapient are androids? Are the droids? It's never really clarified. And almost every new film contradicts something in the previous film, especially the prequel trilogy. Like, if cloning and battle droids suddenly show up, why isn't that a plot point in the original trilogy? Why aren't battle droids extremely common? It makes perfect sense for them to be extremely common. But it's not. And that's just because Star Wars doesn't have to make sense, and it doesn't make any sense. Why have a shapeshifter in episode 2 and then never bring it up again ever? A shapeshifter conspiracy, that could have been the whole plot to episode 2. But instead we just have a random shapeshifter for no reason, and then she's gone, and it's never referenced. You might not even remember what I'm talking about, in fact, because it was that brief. But anyways, it's Star Wars. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to be really cool. It runs on rule of cool. Why are there starfighters? Starfighters don't make any sense at all. Uh, but they exist. Why? Because World War II dogfights are cool. You know, if there were, even if starfighters do make sense, they'd be more like Korean War uh, missile launch over the horizon. You know, we can only see visually like 50 miles, and modern jet fighters can blow each other up well beyond that. So, in space, you know, short range blasters doesn't make any sense. Even if manned starfighters do make sense, which they don't. So, trying to bring up any logical gaps, any technological gaps in Star Wars is a complete waste of time. They didn't think about it. They don't care about it. That's not what the franchise is. It's pulp action. It's rule of cool. It's always been that way. The Death Star doesn't make sense either. Nothing makes sense in Star Wars. Nothing. That's why it's so hard to play it as an RPG, because it's full of plot holes everywhere. It's not about the plot, really. It's about the themes, the emotion, the elements, the characters. That's what it's about. It's not about the mathematical making of sense, because that doesn't exist. It never has. Anyways, that's a big tangent. The First Order's coming down on the Resistance. Big showdown. The gates of the Citadel. No help shows up for them. Luke Skywalker seems to appear. He walks out. He takes the barrage of blaster fire. He engages in a kind of lightsaber duel with Kylo Ren. During the duel, he's never touched by Ren, and he never touches Ren. He only dodges and weaves and ducks and dives and dodges. So he manages to engage Ren in conversation while this is happening. You know, he tries to tell Ren, I did fail you. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm coming out of exile now. We can make it right. You don't have to be on the dark side. And Ren is just full of rage. He doesn't believe Luke. He's fixated on Luke's past failing. Ren cannot forgive. You know, Poe messed up at the start of the movie. His commander forgave him. Skywalker messed up between movies. Ren, though, cannot forgive him. That's why Ren is a bad guy. Poe and the commanders, you know, they're all good guys. Everyone fails, makes mistakes. If you can't forgive someone, you won't have anybody left, because everybody's going to fail you in your life, right? And you'll end up alone, just like Kylo Ren is alone. Whereas if you can forgive and learn from your mistakes, you can have this community, these friends, these bonds, just like the Resistance. You know, Finn and Rose and Rey, and they're all pals, and Poe and Leia and Chewie. It's a team. It's not a group of individuals backstabbing each other like Admiral Hux is constantly trying to backstab Kylo Ren. And Hux is like the real villain here, because he has no redeeming qualities. So I love Hux for his role in the story. Kylo Ren is more nuanced than that. You know, he has a reason to be the way he is, and he wants to rise above good and evil, even if he can't actually do it. That's his idea, that he wants to do it. You know, and he's got this great tension with Rey, where he hates her, but he seems to understand her the way nobody else does. Hux has no tension with anybody. Hux is a weasel. He's a coward. You know, it's great to have him, though, for that plot role. We got to have a weasel to take the big bump at the end of the night. So anyways, Kylo Ren finally realizes Luke isn't there. This is a psychic projection. and he's psychically projecting himself from the other side of the galaxy. And this drain of his energy causes Luke to die. But it's a peaceful, happy death. He's come out of exile in the only way he could. He tried to do right. He asked for forgiveness. So he gets his happy ending. He doesn't die a bitter, old, exiled man. He gets to die serving the cause he gave his life for, surrounded by his friends, saying goodbye to his sister, trying to make things right. And is that, the happiest ending in the world? No, because he still failed. But he can be at peace. And it's a happier ending than what would have happened. All right? Because we don't all get to succeed and win and triumph and have a big parade. Sometimes just doing our best is what we have to live with. And that's what Skywalker got. And I think that's a great message, personally. It's bittersweet. And that's the way the world is a lot of the time for a lot of people. So they have that great confrontation. And this allows the resistance to escape the back door. Rey comes in, uses the Force, gets them out the back door, and they manage to get away. Greatly reduced numbers, but much wiser in terms of morality, in terms of tactics, in terms of we need to create hope in the world. Now another tangent, because Philip requested I specifically talk about Rose. There's a scene where Finn is coming in to try to destroy this big super weapon and hold them off for a little while longer. He's going to kamikaze it. He's going to sacrifice his life to save the cause. Rose comes in and stops him. She knocks him out of the sky. He asks, "Why did you do that?" And she says, "We're not going to win this fight by destroying things. Don't be like Poe and sacrifice our whole bomber wing and my sister for this Pyrrhic victory." She doesn't say that directly, but that's the message. She says, "We're not going to win by destroying what we hate. We're going to win the fight by saving what we love." And then she gives him a kiss on the lips, not a open mouth kiss, just a little, closed mouth style kiss on the lips. And then she passes out, probably from a massive concussion from smashing her speeder into his. So we get this great reaction of Finn. He's confused, he's startled, he doesn't know what's going on. Is she concussed badly? Has her hero worship kind of switched her into romantic feeling? Or is she just, kind of friendly like that and, she'll give somebody like a kiss on the lips, not a big deal in her culture? We don't know. A lot of people said, oh, it's a shoehorned romance gimmick. Maybe it is, but it's not as strong a romance gimmick. It's a closed mouth kiss. So I didn't mind it. But maybe it's not even a romance gimmick at all. Maybe she's badly concussed. She's all loopy. This could be a number of things, but it's a tease. It's tension. We don't know. That's kind of the point. And now Finn is very conflicted. What I want to see, because Finn, I think, obviously has got it going on for Rey. I think in the third act, episode 9, we can get this love triangle. Rose likes Finn, Finn likes Rey, Finn is undecided, Rey has his connection to Kylo Ren. I think that could be tremendous, depending on how it's pulled off. Maybe Finn goes to Rose and he says, "Listen, this is just hero worship. You need to get over it. You need to find somebody who actually likes you." And maybe Rose will get hooked up with a different character and realize that hero worship and romance are not the same thing. Maybe that won't happen. Maybe Finn will say, "Okay, I'm going to hook up with Rose." even though it's more hero worship than actual romance. But uh, maybe Star Wars doesn't care about that, and Star Wars is down with giving that message off, right? Either way, I loved it. I love Rose. She's been beat down, but she's still hopeful. She sees the best in everyone. I think she's adorable. And I'm looking forward to how all of these things, these elements come together in episode 9. So that's my review and recap of episode 8, The Last Jedi. We got to learn from our failures. We are not the superheroes. Um, Even if we are, that could be a bad idea, right? We don't want to be Greek heroes, stand alone. We want to stand together, build a real community, have a democracy, not a tyranny where a hero lords over everybody else. So I loved the themes, I loved the message, I loved the visuals, I loved so much about the movie. There wasn't a lot there for me to dislike. Uh, so Philip, that is my 32-minute response and rejoinder to your request. I don't know if you can sit through all of it, but I've recorded all of it. And leave your thoughts and comments and opinions in the comments. And until I see you again, good day and good movie watching.